Hello everyone, and welcome to my General Hospital official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Carly Corinthos has always been known for her fiery temper and fierce loyalty, especially when it comes to her children. But in the latest shocking turn of events, that balance of motherly love and raw frustration finally reached its breaking point with her daughter Jocelyn. Fans of General Hospital have seen mother and daughter clash countless times over the years, but nothing could prepare them for the explosive moment that unfolded. As the tension in Carly's living room hit a boiling point, Joss confronted her mother with questions Carly had fought desperately to avoid answering. The lies, the secrecy, and the walls Carly had built around her family's truth finally came crashing down in the most dramatic way possible. And when Carly's carefully guarded secret was exposed, Joss's reaction pushed her mother into a corner, leaving Carly to lash out in an unforgettable way that will leave viewers talking for months to come. The scene began with Jocelyn pacing back and forth, her voice trembling as she accused her mother of hiding things yet again. For Joss, it wasn't just about the truth, it was about trust. Carly had spent years telling Joss that family meant everything, that honesty and loyalty were what held them together. Yet Joss had begun to notice cracks in that foundation. She had pieced together fragments of overheard conversations, unusual silences, and moments when Carly seemed far too evasive. Now finally Joss had connected the dots, and Carly realized there was no way to dodge her daughter's questions any longer. The walls she had built to protect herself and her family were collapsing around her, and in that collapse came the startling moment when Carly's emotions boiled over. Joss's voice was sharp as she pressed for the truth, her tone carrying the mix of hurt and betrayal that only a daughter could feel when she realizes her own mother has been keeping life-altering secrets. "Why didn't you just tell me?" she demanded, her eyes blazing as she tried to hold her ground. For Carly, who has survived mob wars, marriages, betrayals, and every storm life could throw her way, nothing compared to seeing that look in her daughter's eyes. It was a mirror of every mistake she had made, every choice she thought she was protecting her family with, and every consequence she had hoped would never surface. The silence between them stretched, heavy and suffocating, before Carly finally snapped. And in a moment that will go down in soap history, Carly slapped Joss across the face. The slap wasn't just a physical gesture. It was the culmination of years of tension, lies, and unspoken truths. It was a mother's desperate attempt to regain control in a situation spiraling out of her hands. For Jocelyn, the sting on her cheek was nothing compared to the sting in her heart. She stared at her mother in shock, unable to comprehend what had just happened. The woman she had always looked up to, the mother she thought she could trust above all else, had struck her not out of discipline but out of fear. That fear came from the secret Carly had been burying. A secret so monumental that even she knew it could shatter everything if it ever came to light. And now, with her daughter standing in front of her demanding the truth, Carly realized there was no way to hide any longer. As the tears welled up in Jocelyn's eyes, Carly's voice broke through the silence with 5 words that stunned not just her daughter, but anyone who would hear about it afterward. Her voice, trembling with both anger and sorrow, carried the weight of everything she had been keeping bottled up. "He was never yours, Joss." Those 5 words, raw and cutting, dropped like a bomb between mother and daughter. At first, Joss couldn't even process what her mother meant. Her mind raced with possibilities, her heart pounded in her chest, and the room seemed to spin as she struggled to understand. Who wasn't hers? What truth was her mother confessing in this devastating moment? The slap had been shocking enough, but those 5 words carried the kind of revelation that changes lives forever. For Carly, saying the words out loud was like ripping open a wound she had fought to keep hidden. She had lived with this truth for years, carrying it silently, protecting it as if revealing it would destroy the very fabric of her family. But in that heated exchange with her daughter, the mask slipped, and the truth could no longer be denied. Carly's secret, the one she thought she could carry to her grave, had just been thrust into the light. And as the reality began to sink in for Jocelyn, the full weight of what her mother had revealed hit her like a tidal wave. Nothing would ever be the same again. The air in Port Charles was thick with secrets, as it always had been. The quaint town, nestled along the waterfront, was a place where whispers traveled faster than the wind and loyalties were tested daily. For Carly Spencer, life had been a roller coaster of heartbreak, betrayal, and fierce maternal love. Her daughter, Jocelyn Jacks, had always been her anchor, her pride, and her fiercest battleground. But today, in the dimly lit living room of the Spencer house, the bond between mother and daughter was about to be tested in a way neither could have anticipated. Carly stood by the window, her arms crossed, staring out at the rain-soaked streets. The storm outside mirrored the one brewing inside her. She had just returned from Charlie's pub, where a cryptic conversation with Jack Brennan, the charming yet enigmatic WSB chief, had left her uneasy. Jack's smooth assurances about his latest escapades had rung hollow, and a fleeting glance he'd shared with Anna Devane across the bar had set Carly's instincts on edge. Something was wrong, terribly wrong, and it had to do with Jocelyn. Jocelyn, for her part, was upstairs pacing her bedroom. Her heart pounded as she clutched her phone, rereading a coded message from Vaughn, her fellow WSB agent. The mission at the Five Poppies Hotel in Croatia had gone horribly awry. She and Vaughn had been sent to gather intel on a shady tech scheme led by Professor Henry Dalton, but they'd been caught by Pascal, the resort manager with ties to a dangerous criminal network. Britt Westbourne, presumed dead by many in Port Charles, had stumbled upon them in a basement, trapped and desperate. Britt's quick thinking, slipping Joss a pair of manicure scissors, had given them a fighting chance, but the situation had escalated. An explosion had rocked the resort, and while Joss, Vaughn, and Britt had escaped with Jason Morgan's help, the ordeal had left Joss shaken. She hadn't told her mother about any of it. How could she? The truth would destroy Carly. Downstairs, Carly's phone buzzed with a message from Jason Morgan, her lifelong friend and confidant. "We need to talk. Now. It's about Joss." Her stomach dropped. Jason had been in Croatia, too, chasing leads on Britt's whereabouts. If he was back in Port Charles and demanding to see her, it meant trouble. Carly didn't hesitate. She grabbed her coat and texted Jason to meet her at the house. Whatever he knew, she needed to hear it, before it was too late. Jason arrived 20 minutes later, his leather jacket damp from the rain. His face was grim, his blue eyes shadowed with the weight of what he was about to say. Carly didn't bother with pleasantries. "What's going on, Jason? What's wrong with Joss?" He hesitated, running a hand through his wet hair. "Carly, you need to sit down." "I'm not sitting down until you tell me what's happening." Her voice was sharp, her maternal instincts screaming that something was deeply amiss. "Is she hurt? Is she in trouble?" Jason took a deep breath. "She's not hurt. Not anymore. But she's in deep, Carly. Deeper than you can imagine." Carly's eyes narrowed. "What does that mean?" "Joss has been working for the WSB, Jason said, his voice low but steady. "She's been a covert agent, recruited by Jack Brennan. She was on a mission in Croatia at the Five Poppies Hotel. It went south badly. Britt found her and Vaughn trapped in a basement. I got them out, but, Carly, she's been lying to you. For months." The words hit Carly like a freight train. Her daughter, her baby girl, a WSB agent? Working for Jack Brennan, the man she'd been falling for? The room spun, and she gripped the back of the couch to steady herself. "No," she whispered. "No, that's not possible. Joss would never." "She did," Jason interrupted gently. "She's been keeping it from you because she knew how you'd react. She was trying to protect you." "Protect me?" Carly's voice rose, a mix of disbelief and fury. "By lying to me? By running off to some dangerous mission in another country? Jason, how could you let this happen?" "I didn't know until I got to Croatia," he said, his tone calm but firm. "Britt called me on a burner phone. I went to help her, and that's when I found Joss and Vaughn. I didn't know she was involved with the WSB until then." Carly's mind raced, piecing together the fragments of the past few months. Joss's unexplained absences, her vague excuses about school projects and trips with friends. The way she dodged questions about her plans. It all made sense now, and the realization cut deeper than any knife. "Jack," she said, her voice trembling with rage. "He did this. He recruited her. He put my daughter in danger." Jason nodded. "Yeah, and he didn't tell you. Neither did Anna or Dante. They knew Carly. They've been covering for her." The betrayal was a triple blow. Joss, Jack, and now Anna and Dante, people she'd trusted. Carly's hands clenched into fists, her nails digging into her palms. "Where is she?" she demanded. "Where's Joss now?" "Upstairs," Jason said. "She got back this morning. She's shaken up, but she's okay. Physically, at least." Carly didn't wait for more. She stormed up the stairs, her heart pounding with a mix of fear, anger, and heartbreak. She burst into Joss's room without knocking, finding her daughter sitting on the bed, staring at her phone. Joss looked up, startled, and the guilt in her eyes confirmed everything. "Mom," Joss began, but Carly cut her off. "Is it true?" Carly's voice was a low growl, her eyes blazing. "Are you working for the WSB? Did Jack Brennan recruit you to be some kind of spy?" Joss's mouth opened, but no words came out. Her silence was answer enough. Carly's hand shot out before she could stop herself, a sharp slap connecting with Joss's cheek. The sound echoed in the quiet room and Joss flinched, her hand flying to her face as tears welled in her eyes. "How could you do this?" Carly shouted, her voice breaking. "You're my daughter. You don't get to lie to me, to run off and play secret agent without telling me. Do you have any idea what this feels like? To know you've been risking your life and I had no clue." "Mom, I'm sorry," Joss choked out, her voice trembling. "I didn't want to worry you. I thought I could handle it." "Handle it?" Carly's laugh was bitter. "You were trapped in a basement in Croatia, Joss. You could have died. And for what? For Jack Brennan's games? For some mission you had no business being part of." Joss stood, her own anger flaring. "It wasn't a game, Mom. I chose this. I wanted to do something important, something bigger than myself. After Dex died, I needed to. Don't you dare bring Dex into this." Carly snapped. "You think this is what he would have wanted? You throwing yourself into danger, lying to everyone who loves you." "I wasn't lying to hurt you," Joss cried. "I was trying to protect you. You've been through so much, Morgan, everything with Sonny, now Drew. I didn't want to add to your pain." Carly's eyes filled with tears, but her anger held firm. She stepped closer, her voice dropping to a deadly whisper. "You want to know what hurts? Finding out my daughter's been living a double life. Finding out the man I trusted, the man I was falling for, put you in harm's way. And you let him." She paused, her breath ragged, and then the 5 shocking words spilled out, each one a dagger. "You're no daughter of mine." Joss froze, the words hitting harder than the slap. Her face crumpled, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Mom, you don't mean that," she whispered, her voice breaking. Carly's heart shattered at the sight of her daughter's pain. But the betrayal was too raw, too fresh. "I don't know what I mean right now," she said, her voice shaking. "But I can't look at you. Not after this." She turned and stormed out of the room, leaving Joss sobbing on the bed. Downstairs, Jason was waiting, his expression unreadable. "Carly," he said softly, "you need to take a breath. She's still your kid." "Don't," Carly snapped, brushing past him. "Don't tell me how to feel about this. Not now." The next few days in Port Charles were a whirlwind of tension and fallout. Carly confronted Jack Brennan at Charlie's pub, her voice icy as she laid into him. "You recruited my daughter," she said, her eyes blazing. "You put her in danger, and you didn't even have the decency to tell me." Jack's charm faltered, his usual confidence replaced by a flicker of guilt. "Carly, I didn't force her. Joss wanted to do this. She's strong, capable. Don't you dare justify this." Carly cut him off. "You used her. You used my daughter to further your agenda, and you lied to me about it. We're done, Jack." He reached for her, but she pulled away. "Carly, please. I care about you. I didn't mean for this to happen." "You didn't mean for me to find out," she shot back. "Stay away from me. And stay away from Joss." The breakup was the talk of Port Charles, but Carly's focus was on repairing the damage with her daughter. She couldn't shake the image of Joss's tear-streaked face, the way her words had cut deeper than any physical blow. But every time she tried to talk to Joss, the anger and hurt bubbled up again, making reconciliation impossible. Joss, meanwhile, was grappling with her own guilt and confusion. She loved her mother, but she also believed in the work she was doing with the WSB. The mission at 5 Poppies had been about stopping a dangerous tech scheme that could have hurt countless people. She'd felt alive, purposeful, in a way she hadn't since Dex's death. But now, with her mother's words echoing in her mind, she questioned everything. Anna Devane and Dante Falconeri faced their own reckoning. Carly confronted them at the PCPD, her voice cold. "You knew about Joss," she said. "You knew she was working for the WSB, and you kept it from me. Why?" Anna sighed, her expression weary. "Carly, we were protecting her cover. Joss's mission was critical, and we couldn't risk it being compromised." "She's my daughter," Carly shouted. "You don't get to decide what's best for her." Dante stepped in, his voice calm but firm. "We didn't want to keep you in the dark, Carly. But Joss begged us not to tell you. She was afraid of how you'd react." "Well, she was right," Carly said bitterly. "Because I'm furious. With her, with you, with everyone who thought they could play God with my daughter's life." As the days turned into weeks, the rift between Carly and Joss deepened. Joss threw herself into her WSB work, determined to prove she'd made the right choice. But every mission, every close call, reminded her of her mother's words. She began to doubt herself, wondering if she'd traded her family for a cause that might never be worth it. Carly, meanwhile, leaned on Jason for support. He was the one constant in her life, the one person who never betrayed her trust. But even Jason couldn't bridge the gap between mother and daughter. "You need to talk to her, Carly," he urged one night at the Metro Court. "She's hurting. She needs you." "I'm hurting too," Carly said, her voice raw. "I said things I shouldn't have, Jason. I told her she wasn't my daughter. How do I take that back?" "You start by apologizing," he said simply. "You both love each other. That's what matters." Carly knew he was right, but pride and pain kept her silent. It wasn't until a near disaster on one of Joss's missions, another close call with Pascal's network, that Carly's fear for her daughter's safety outweighed her anger. She showed up at Joss's apartment unannounced, her heart in her throat. Joss opened the door, her face pale and tired. "Mom? What are you doing here?" Carly took a deep breath, her eyes searching her daughter's face. "I was wrong," she said, her voice trembling. "I was so scared, Joss. Scared of losing you like I lost Morgan. I said things I didn't mean. You are my daughter, and I love you more than anything. I need you to be safe." Joss's eyes filled with tears. "I'm sorry too, Mom. I should have told you. I thought I was doing the right thing, but I hurt you. I never wanted that." They fell into each other's arms, tears streaming down their faces. The road to healing would be long, but in that moment they took the first step. Port Charles was still a town of secrets, but for Carly and Joss, the truth, no matter how painful, was the only way forward. The weeks that followed were a slow rebuilding of trust. Carly and Joss talked openly about the WSB, about Joss's reasons for joining, and about Carly's fears. Joss agreed to step back from fieldwork, at least for a while, and Carly promised to respect her daughter's choices, even if they scared her. Jack Brennan, meanwhile, faced the consequences of his actions. His negligence in Croatia came to light, and the WSB launched an internal investigation. His romance with Carly was over, and his influence in Port Charles waned. Jason remained a steady presence, helping both Carly and Joss navigate the fallout. Britt Westbourne's return stirred up old tensions, but her role in saving Joss earned her a grudging respect from Carly. The town buzzed with rumors of Britt's past, of Joss's secret life, of Carly's explosive confrontations, but life in Port Charles went on as it always did. For Carly and Joss, the slap in those 5 shocking words became a turning point, a moment of raw honesty that forced them to confront their fears and their love for each other. They were mother and daughter, bound by blood and fire, and no secret, no matter how shocking, could break that bond.